All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started here. Sebastian, could I ask you to jump to the next slide, please? All right. So again, thank you for joining us today. This webinar is part of the Greentech Renewables training series, and we're very excited to be hosting today's event with our partner, REC. REC has been known for quality and reliability since its founding in 1996. REC has recently invested in differentiating technology and offers some of the most beautiful and productive products on the market, and as you'll see shortly, has among the most charismatic sales teams you'll ever encounter. Their recent acquisition by Reliance Industries and their ongoing commitment to global leadership have us at Greentech feeling very bullish about our partnership. Next slide, please. Before things kick off, some very quick housekeeping. Product sheets and additional information are accessible through GoToWebinar in the handouts section. We will have a Q&A portion toward the end of today's event, and to participate, please submit your questions through the GoToWebinar questions section, and a recording will be sent to all registrants. Next slide, please. To quickly introduce Greentech Renewables, we are the nation's leading solar equipment distributor with over 80 locations nationwide. We carry the leading solar, electrical, energy storage, and EV charging brands to support your installation business. Prior to September 1st, you knew us as CED Greentech, but we rebranded to Greentech Renewables to emphasize our focused commitment to leadership in the renewables industry. We continue to operate as a division of CED, affording us unique scale and stability as we support our customers in a rapidly growing and changing industry. Please visit our website at greentechrenewables.com to view a map of all of our locations and to get in touch with a location near you. With our numerous stocking locations nationwide, our fleet of trucks rolling daily, our commitment to service, integrity, and reliability, and an unmatched service offering, there is no better partner in solar than Greentech Renewables. And with that, I'm very pleased to turn the mic over to our esteemed hosts from REC, Brian, and Gabe.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tom. Mic check real quick. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Brian.
Awesome. Thanks for that rousing introduction. We'll try and live up to Solar's most charismatic. We are REC Group, Solar's most trusted, and it's a name we take to heart. My name is Brian Giglia. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development. I oversee our residential business here in the Americas, and am thrilled to join you guys today. I have a couple of comments at the top, and then I'll throw it over to Brian Sharp, who's our Key Account Manager for the Mountain West, and Gabe Davis, who's our Senior Key Account Manager for Southern California and the Southwest. Sebastian Lang is our Inside Sales Manager, and he'll be running the show behind the scenes and moderating along with Tom to answer any questions you guys have. And before I jump in here, I just want to, again, thank Greentech for the partnership, for the opportunity, and just reiterate all of Tom's comments at the top. Really, no better partner to work with focusing on the residential segment. We've seen phenomenal success with the partnership over the last 2+ years, and really see, the sky's the limit looking forward over the next 2 years. So, by way of introduction, I just wanted to provide this audience a bit of context around where REC Group is today, along with kind of where the industry is. Then I'll shut up and get out of the way and let the real subject matter experts give you a preview into our exciting new developments and new products. So myself, I've been with REC Group for 4 years. Prior to that, I spent about 13 years in the industry, focusing in the residential segment. I can say I've never been more excited about the opportunity ahead of us in the residential segment of the solar market. With the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, we have policy stability that really gives us a 10-year roadmap for both increased consumer demand and kind of the holy grail of domestic manufacturing. something we've been looking for a long time, and suffice to say, it is in play and extremely exciting. So with that in mind, I wanted to give you a brief overview of a couple of slides, but we are a global manufacturer headquartered in Singapore. We were acquired by a company called Reliance last year, and we are expanding globally quickly. We have broken ground on what will be the largest solar manufacturing facility in the world in India. That's going to take us a couple of years to build, but once it's up and running, it will be 20 gigawatts. And you can't do that overnight. We'll be bringing that online in 2024. Moving backwards to current time, we are looking aggressively at domestic manufacturing. Can't make any big announcements today, but hope to have some good news for you here shortly, and certainly very focused on bringing manufacturing to the United States. I know several folks are going to be interested in where, when, and what. And I will just tell you now, I can't give you all those specifics, but can say we have several sites in mind, and hope to be making announcements in the next couple of months. With that said, all of our capacity today comes out of Singapore. And we recently expanded our capacity to introduce our newest product, which is Pure R. Gabe and Sharpie are going to, sorry, that's his internal nickname, Gabe and Brian Sharp are going to speak to the benefits of Pure R. I wanted to provide context around why Pure R is being launched. We learned a lot over the last 3-4 years with the pandemic disruption. And I'm sure everyone has felt the pain of supply chain disruptions, most poignantly in 22. We at REC Group focus on quality, stability, and again, we take being solar's most trusted to heart. And so we have pivoted our business, one, into a new technology, which is heterojunction, which is the best technology for future growth and future proofing, providing the most kilowatt hours, the most power density. We're also taking an additional step to secure our upstream supply of wafers all the way through ingots and polysilicon. We're diversifying away from China and into other countries, most notably India. And with Pure R, we're moving on to a new platform that is called a G12 wafer. This is essentially a wider wafer that is 210 millimeters. The reason we're doing this is because the market will be moving to this being the predominant wafer supply over the next 3 years. And so again, by launching the product now, we are early adopters into what will become the industry standard. That means that you as an installer in GreenTech, as the distributor, can count on reliable supply today and into the future as we, quote unquote, future-proof our supply chain from future supply chain disruptions. In addition, by moving to heterojunction, we'll speak to this in the deck, we are on a new technology platform that can grow and can experience more technological innovation, which will allow us to deliver higher powered panels that deliver more kilowatt hours for you and your customers. So with all that said, extremely excited to be with you guys today. I'll throw it over to Gabe and Brian Sharp for the rest of the presentation, and I'll hang out in the background if there's any questions that come up. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks everybody. Just really quick mic check. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Brian.
Great. All right, so thanks again, Brian. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having an excellent, fantastic Thursday. We're excited to talk with you today about REC, our newest solar module technology, and just how we can support your efforts to drive solar business going forward. So I'm going to start with a few topics, just an introduction to REC. Brian did a great job of teeing it up. I might add some color there. We want to cover some overview of just a couple of the trends pushing the solar market forward right now. And then I'll hand it off to Gabe to do a deeper dive into our new Alpha Pure R module, how it will drive the industry forward, help you grow your business, and provide a tool you can use to help your customers. So if you go to the next slide, we showcased this while Brian was talking, but I did want to just speak to a little bit about REC's history, our experience and quality. Brian touched on this, but we're one of the most experienced solar manufacturers in the industry, and one of the few solar companies that can say we've been around longer than the number of years in our warranties. We're just hitting the 26-year mark, founded in 1996 in Norway, and since that inception, we've accomplished a lot. 38 million solar panels produced and sold, more than that, over 16 million people's homes powered by our modules, 2,000 or approximately 2,000 employees globally, and that Singaporean manufacturing that Brian touched on, it's really allows us to do a few things. One, it's a heavily automated facility, and what this means is just we really pride ourselves as a company in being a technology first company. It allows us to drive volume in production, but more importantly, we do it in a way that leans heavily on quality control above and beyond manufacturing processes. And that's really why we have industry leading efficiency, warranty claim rates, our environmental track record, environmental content in our modules, and just solar module performance in general. So if you go to the next slide, one of the taglines we really like to highlight is that the best warranty is one you never have to use. Seems obvious, but really REC has arguably the best track record in the industry when it comes to warranty claims. You all are likely aware that referrals, customer satisfaction, is a key pillar to driving a good solar business, and that includes us. It's how we grow our business. We want to ensure the products that we are manufacturing for the industry and that you or your customers are installing, that they grow long-term customer satisfaction, right? So what does that mean? Just the way REC does this is to implement stringent quality control and production processes that ensure the panels we deliver off the line are heavily tested. And Sebastian, if you want to go back one more slide, one thing I wanted to just represent here is our industry-leading warranty claims rate. And before I go into that, I think the processes that I was mentioning, it's not just the actual warranty claims, but the structure of our modules, everything from the cells to the frames to the bus bars to the cabling, the glass. It's all designed to perform, endure, resist forces or impacts that have the potential to damage or reduce the life of the modules. And it's that quality control we hang our hat on. But what I wanted to highlight on this graph is a couple things. Obviously, we have very low claims rates. While all manufacturers have some level of manufacturing failures, we have some of the lowest in the world. And the indicator we like to use is a measurement of warranty claims per million panels produced or parts per million. Our claim rate is an average of 60 parts per million or 60 claims per million modules produced. The industry average is 6,000 parts per million. So we're talking orders of magnitude in terms of our claims rates. It just means customers are happier, but it also means the side effects of kind of needing to make claims are avoided. What do I mean by that? Installers run less trucks to fix products on the roofs. Energy production downtime is decreased. The overall experience for the homeowner is just better. So if you go to the next slide, this really shows the benchmarking against others in the industry. And we're showing some of the top panel manufacturer numbers in the world. And when you look at the claim rates, some of them are literally orders of magnitude below some of our competitors. And what we really just like to show here is that even with new product introductions in recent years, we've kept those claim rates very low. So I think it just speaks to the manufacturing quality process. So to speak to the warranty a little more, if you go to the next slide, we offer an advantage warranty, and it's REC's Pro Trust warranty, which includes the standard 25-year performance warranty, but also an expanded product warranty when it comes to product manufacturing and the parts and pieces of the module, as well as a 25-year labor reimbursement warranty. So it's only our REC certified Solar Pro program members that can offer this expanded warranty to their customers. But one thing to note, it's not tied to the homeowner, it's tied to the project or the home itself. So when you change ownership of a home, that home maintains those 25-year warranties we're talking about. And if you're an installer that's not certified through this program yet, we just really encourage folks to reach out to us, use our contact information, reach out in the chat if you can here, but really just we can help you understand what steps it takes to become one of these and to take advantage of this great warranty program. So first quiz of the day. We're giving away some fun swag and things like this to winners, but in the chat feature, if you can put in who knows what REC's failure rate is. And then click one more time, there's a bonus question to this. What is the industry average? All right. Got some winners coming in for sure. So we will go ahead and give the answer, and the first answer is 60 parts per million. Congratulations and great job to those of you who answered correctly. And then the bonus question, the industry average is actually 6,000 parts per million. So thanks for playing on the first quiz of the day. Great work, everybody. Again, just really highlights one of the key factors of what sets us apart in the industry. Okay, so this is just a really informative graph. This is one of my favorite graphs to look at when we think about the US solar market and really what's ahead in the future. This highlights energy usage growth in the US. We're seeing a step change in how Americans are using their energy, and specifically electricity, right? So if you think about the evolution of fuels and vehicles and EVs becoming more and more mainstream, you can see that going forward, even at the base case reference, you see a pretty strong increase in the projected annual electricity consumption of a household. As gas prices have gone up, consumers are pivoting to electric vehicles. We're seeing more and more of them on the streets, but we're also seeing more and more reservations of EVs and things like this. And as people are plugging those into their homes or their charging stations, it's going to drive electrical consumption. It's not just EVs, it's really just an overall increase in the electrical grid, and it's driving an evolution not only in usage and consumer activity, but the grid itself. Utilities are planning for this. They have distribution and transmission level electrification planning schedules that take years to develop. And this is in reaction to them really trying to take advantage of this shift to higher electrical use and potentially higher rates, changing structures of rates and things that will drive just more demand. So if you go to the next slide, this shows a little bit about what this means for the end user. People need more power. They need more electricity. And residential per capita energy usage is going up. When you look at EV adoption requiring 3 to 5 kW per vehicle, that's 3 to 5 kW more solar potentially that they could use, or just energy they could use. And it's not just cars, it's appliances going from gas to electric powered, smart appliances in the home, and overall use of personal electronics in the home. Over the last 3 years, increases in AC permitting in several states are increasing significantly. When I say AC, air conditioning, all of this drives electrical needs. And so homeowners on average need about 15% plus or minus more power, and their roofs are not getting 15% bigger. So this is just going to drive the need for more efficient modules for anyone who goes solar, right? You need to produce more power on the same square footage of a room on the roof, I should say, and that will drive the need for premier modules. So really just want to point out, REC has an eye towards the future when it comes to being ahead of the curve, innovating, creating modules that can produce as much power per square foot with low claim rates. And we're moving to some of these innovative technologies ahead of the industry and being leaders to really drive this. So I'm now going to hand it off to Gabe, who will talk about our latest module and the best technology fit to drive the most power from homes and rooftops. So Gabe, go ahead and take it away.
Fantastic. Thanks, Brian. Hello, everybody. This is a very exciting time in the industry. It's an exciting time to be partnered with GreenTech. It's an exciting time to partner with REC. As Brian spoke to, as we look at where the industry is going, our consumers need more power, right? Our homes aren't getting necessarily any bigger, and really there's a huge push in the residential solar market specifically to drive to a more efficient module and to continue to drive to greater cost efficiency as well. When we look at our module, we continue to have a lot of acclaim, be it InterSolar, Solar Review, Energy Sage. We continue to be one of the most sought out after modules in the space, and that customer awareness is only growing. So we'll talk more about what's the secret sauce behind the Alpha series, what makes our modules great, and how can they be a great tool in helping you grow your business and give your customers the best offering possible. All right, so it starts with a little bit of technology. This slide is detailing the processes involved in manufacturing a mono PERC module. That has really been the predominant technology over the last decade. It's a good technology. It's gotten us to where we are, but it's certainly not the best the industry can offer. And it's definitely not what our REC Alpha series is providing. So I'll quickly walk you through what these steps are. Again, this is mono PERC manufacturing. On average, a mono PERC module is going to have a performance guarantee in the mid-80s. Again, it's good technology. It's certainly not the best that the industry has available. So we start with raw silicon. That raw silicon is melted into lava. That is then spun into an ingot. The ingot is then sliced into wafers, and those wafers are assembled into cells, and that becomes the module. Again, it's good technology. It's certainly not where the industry is going, right? So next we'll flip to HJT. HJT is the technology platform that we use for our Alpha series. We go from raw silicon to lava to an ingot, then we make our super thin wafer, and step 5 is where it gets more exciting. So we're using 2 different types of solar generating material. We're going to go into that in a lot more detail on the next slide. The key thing to be aware of is, and here's that side profile, right? This is where the industry is going as far as improved technology. A quick reminder for everybody, when we look at solar energy and specifically photovoltaics, this industry started for extraterrestrial applications, with NASA being one of the forefront technology pioneers in developing photovoltaics for satellite applications. That still today is the tip of the spear when we look at the solar industry in terms of the best technology available. The solar panels going into space today are quad junction cells. That means 4 different types of solar generating materials stacked on top of each other, each using a different part of the available light spectrum in order to generate power. That's creating the absolute best efficiencies available in, well, not just really the world, but the universe, right? Because it's extraterrestrial applications. That said, the cost per watt of those modules is not dollars per watt, but thousands of dollars per watt. We are one of the few companies to really be closer to where the industry is going. So HJT is 2 different types of solar technology. We have our mono N-type wafer, that's the highest efficiency type of mono wafer available, and we have an amorphous silicon layer above and below. This is doing a couple things to really drive a better module. First, it's creating a higher cell efficiency because we're generating power from both the mono N-type wafer and the amorphous silicon. Both are using different parts of the available light spectrum. And so our modules are literally turning on earlier in the day in lower light conditions, turning off later in the day. It's also creating a best-in-class temperature coefficient. So as we all know, or as we might be aware of, solar technology, specifically photovoltaics, does not necessarily improve as temperature increases. With all electronics, as temperature increases, so does resistance. That slows down the flow of electrons at the cell level. And so a 10 kilowatt system at full sun, let's say at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, will produce more than if it was 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It's an inverse relationship with temperature and production. REC has the best temperature coefficient in the industry at -0.26. What that means is our panels produce better at higher temperatures than other types of technology. It's specifically due to the amorphous silicon being used, and this is creating a greater annual yield, right? So your systems will produce more versus another manufacturer's in those high heat conditions. If your business was located in Alaska and you weren't dealing with a lot of high heat conditions, this would be less relevant. But for many of you on the call, you're operating in markets where we do see temperatures over 90 degrees, sometimes over 100 degrees in the summertime. and that absolutely drives a huge value add in having that improved temperature coefficient. Another key thing that we see with our module is we have removed lead from the manufacturing process. So one of the great claims to Alpha, in addition to the 92% performance guarantee at year 25, which is truly best in class, in addition to our 21.9% efficiency, our temperature coefficient, and great low light performance, we have a lead-free module that has a great low carbon footprint. And that's specifically a function of removing lead from the manufacturing process, as well as our solar factory in Singapore being solar powered. So, we can provide our customers with the best technical product on the market, and it's also one of the most environmentally friendly from a production standpoint. This is a really fun video. Sebastian, if you want to click the link and it'll start to play. The purpose of this video is to illustrate the additional strength that we see with our cells. And so specifically, because of the amorphous silicon, what we've been able to do is really increase the strength of the cell. That's really important when we look at long-term production and minimizing degradation over time. So we see the REC Alpha cell on the right-hand side. It's continuing to bend, right? It flexes. And again, this is a much stronger cell. The mono perf cell on the left-hand side breaks very easily, okay? This is a key contributor in our cells having that great 92% performance over time. Again, it's due to the technology platform of having that amorphous silicon above and below. This is a great video. It's available on our website. And specifically, if you're selling against a company that's offering SunPower, SunPower loves to talk about the strength of their cells. We are the only other manufacturer that can rival them in terms of cell strength. And that's why we're able to offer a comparable 92% performance guarantee at year 25. Another key thing to be aware of when it comes to REC is our improved frame design. We'll show you that design on the next slide, but the key things to be aware of are that as we look at long-term system performance, degradation is inherent within this industry, and it's largely a reflection of micro cracks that develop over time. The P-type mono PERC module will have, under a tested load of 5,400 pounds, will have a lot more power loss, specifically negative 1.3%, right? Multiple cracked cells. Our Alpha module at 7,000 pounds has much, much less micro cracks with 0 cracked cells. What's interesting is that because of the way certifications are developed, that mono P-type product, that's going to be installed in somebody's home. It's not necessarily having anything that's going to fail certification. It's just a reflection of how, again, our panels out of the box and over time will outperform the competition. Next slide, please. Another great feature of the Alpha series is our twin peak architecture. So what we've been able to do is segment the module to optimize when it comes to shading. We have our REC Alpha module on the right-hand side. It's segmented into 2 sections, top and bottom. So if the bottom part of the module is being shaded, the top part will perform very well without any impact on production. This is great because as we continue to try and maximize homeowners' roofs, we are dealing with some situations where we do have shading. It could be in the form of a tree, in the form of a power pole, things like that. This is going to increase the yield in those shaded conditions. But even on our best locations where we have a perfectly south-facing roof, we'll still have clouds that come across the sky that will create shadows on the system. And our improved twin peak architecture, again, gives us the maximum yield. Another key part of our secret to success is we have really improved the level of electron flow at the cell level. The conventional module has 5 bus bars. We have 16 round wires. The best comparison is that while the other guys are operating with a 5-lane highway, we've got a 16-lane highway. It can accommodate a lot more electrons to move a lot faster, which increases that cell efficiency. So because of this improved design, and again, this is where we expect the rest of the industry to follow, we have 1,600 contact points per cell, over 192,000 connections per panel. And again, that is a 6x increase over conventional technology, which allowing which is allowing for that greater cell efficiency. All right, this is just a great reflection of how our industry can continue to improve. In the middle, we see the standard panel, right? It doesn't have any cross braces, and it cannot support as much load, right? As much weight due to that conventional frame design. On the right-hand side, you see the REC Alpha frame. We've done several things to really make it a better product from a frame perspective. The first is we have a thinner 30 millimeter frame. This is lower profile. It looks better on the roof, right? But what we've done is redistribute that aluminum to 2 cross braces on the back. It creates a much more rigid module that is great in terms of preventing against micro cracks. So it's increased durability. It's also got the best in class snow and wind loading. So if you're operating in the market with heavy snow loads or just moderate snow loads, this is an absolute advantage. If you're operating in the market with heavy wind loads, for example, there are parts of Florida that require some of the best wind loading in the nation due to hurricanes. REC Alpha Series is your top pick there. All right, so quiz number 2. What is REC Alpha's 25-year production guarantee? All right, let's take a look. And again, feel free to use the chat feature to provide that feedback. Okay, I see a lot of correct answers here. So that's right, 92% at year 25. This is easily one of the best ways to differentiate our product at the kitchen table, right? Because not only is it a very key metric that makes sense to a lot of homeowners, most importantly, this is what's responsible for showing our increased energy yield over time. We'll show a subsequent slide that details that in more specificity. Bottom line, our panels will produce more power at year 1, more power at year 10, more power at year 25, which will create greater savings for the customer. The best comparison is, we can all buy, there's different types of automobiles that exist on the market today. Some have greater gas mileage, right? With our module, using efficiency as a parallel to gas mileage, while it might cost just a little bit more at time of installation, time of purchase, right? Because of that greater efficiency, the savings are just going to be exponential over time and really be to the homeowner's benefit. All right. Next, we're going to do a deep dive into our brand new Alpha Pure R module. This is the most recent technology innovation from REC Group. This is our current REC Alpha module version 2. So we've made some great technical advantages. A key thing to call out, we are not stopping production of our Alpha Pure module. We will continue to do that. But as we've recently expanded our manufacturing capacity at our factory in Singapore, we have built out an additional line for Alpha Pure R, and we will continue to be expanding with the Alpha Pure R format as we make additional expansions in our manufacturing capacity. From a technical standpoint, one of the best advantages that we see is we've been able to improve upon our shading optimization. So in some prior slides, I was able to review how we had twin peak architecture. Our modules were segmented in top and bottom. With Alpha Pure R, we've been able to improve upon that. So now the module is broken into 4 quadrants. And if shading is impacting just one of those, the other 3 will operate independently, maximizing that production from the module. And again, giving our customers the best option available when going solar. All right. This slide just helps compare and contrast the technical aspects of these 2 products. So the easiest one to look at is the dimensions. The Alpha Pure R is approximately 3.5 inches shorter and 4 inches wider. This allows for better roof fill, right? If we're playing Tetris, it's always easier to use the square blocks versus the other blocks, right? So for a lot of our homeowners, this design itself is able to contribute to increased fill on the roof. Another key thing to call out is that with Alpha Pure R, because it's a new product of ours, availability is great. One of the biggest challenges we saw as a manufacturer and are still seeing today in 2022 is demand is exceeding supply. So we have certainly responded to the market. We've heard the feedback. It's great to have our products in such high demand, and so we've been able to add this new production line. And as a new product, we have a lot of room for new customers, and it's just a great way to advantage your customers with the highest wattage REC Alpha module available, and have it available when you need it. Next slide, please. A key driver in this technology is the larger size wafers. Brian Gilia spoke to this early on at the beginning of our presentation about this is where the industry as a whole is going. So this new module is a 40 cell module, smaller cell count, but they're physically bigger cells. We are one of the first companies to commercialize half-cut cell technology. So this is built on 80 half-cut cells, but it's a 40 cell module. Initial wattages available will be 410 watts, quickly moving up to 420 watts in your region, and in some markets it'll be 420 watts to start with. So availability of this module will start in January, and we're thrilled to be able to offer this product across the country to all of you in Q1. All right, so quiz number 3. How many junction box sections does Alpha Pure R have? We'll wait for the questions to come in. Great job, Dan Cruz. Thanks for leading on that. All right, and the answer is 4. So again, we've been able to further improve how we optimize against shading. The overall impact of the customer is more power, which means more savings. Having personally been in residential sales for the majority of my career, it's great to be able to offer your customers the best the industry has to offer. And it's also great to be able to differentiate against those who can't offer this, right? So when we talk about where we can add the most value, in addition to, again, a great product at a great value, just being able to set your company apart is another great way to really position yourself as the leader within your space, right? Why use last year's technology or the last decade's technology when we can advantage our customers with the best the industry has to offer? This is one of my favorite slides. This is where the rubber meets the road. So this slide was generated using the Solo proposal tool. Solo is a great proposal tool, and there's a lot of other great proposal tools out there. The key thing we're doing is we're comparing and contrasting a system built with a 400 watt mono PERC module versus the REC Alpha module. The key difference is degradation that we're seeing reflected here. So a standard mono PERC module with an 86% performance guarantee at year 25 will produce tens of thousands of kilowatt hours less than our REC Alpha system. Again, this is due to our increased system performance over time, our reduced annual degradation, and again, the result is thousands upon thousands of dollars of savings for the customer over the life of the system, especially as the cost of electricity increases, the value of that additional power only grows. So while it's a nominal increase at year 1 to go with a premium module, the customer benefits are absolutely realized over the life of the system. And that's why our customers are going solar, right? They're not doing it just for year 1 production. They're really making a smart decision to make a long-term investment in renewables and to take control of their energy. So the idea of going solar, doing all these great things, but only offsetting 70% of your bill is not nearly as much fun as offsetting as much of your bill as possible, hopefully 100%, and then maintaining that 100% offset over time. One of the key things to be aware of with REC Group is, in addition to a great product, we also really pride ourselves on offering great support. We mentioned our certified installer program at the beginning of this presentation, and I pasted a link to that. If you haven't joined our certified installer program, please do so. Please click that link, apply. That will be the first step, and myself or members of my team who support your markets to reach out. We would love to provide additional sales training to your team to be able to really give you all the benefits that REC can offer. In addition to our expanded warranty, we have some great marketing services that we can provide to really help you position yourselves as a premium installer in your market, and most importantly, help you grow your business. What I'd like to do now is open it up to questions. So by all means, please share questions in the chat. I had a couple questions come in already, so I'll answer one of those, and then by all means, please filter in more questions. So one of the questions that we received earlier was, when will you be making a product for the commercial market? The short answer is it's absolutely on our horizon. For 2023, we're really just focused on the residential space because we still see a level of demand available that we haven't been able to supply. So we're going to continue to dedicate all of our manufacturing capacity to our Alpha and Alpha Pure R modules for 2023. As Brian spoke to, we are in the process of building a 20 gigawatt factory in India, which will become the largest in the world. And we expect to have a commercial product available in the 2024 horizon. We look forward to doing future webinars on that product, but you will not see a lot more about that until probably halfway through 2023. All right, let's take a look at some of the questions, and away we go. All right. Okay. So one of the questions was, do we have plans for American manufacturing? Absolutely. This is really exciting. We've been planning a U.S. factory for some time now. With the latest great federal policy that's been passed, there's a lot of tremendous incentives available, and so this is a very relevant question and certainly part of our strategy. We're excited to share more news on this in the future. We're in the process of going through site selection, and again, we really look forward to having U.S. manufacturing. It's not something that we expect in the very near future, but it's very much part of our future plan. All right, next up, Sam had a great question. It looks like the Alpha Pure R is only compatible with IQ7 microinverters made by Enphase. That's correct. Is that due to the higher voltage characteristics of our Alpha Pure R module, in terms of current Enphase compatibility, the IQ7X is the right micro for that module. We are working closely with Enphase, and they've actually increased production on the IQ7X specifically because of our product. They see so many of their customers being our customers, and they want to make sure they can cater to that demand. They are working on an 8X series inverter, but the current guidance from Enphase is we should expect that in the second half of next year. If you're working with SolarEdge or any other type of string inverter, there are zero limitations there. But again, in terms of the Enphase compatibility, that's correct, Sam. Thank you for calling that out. All right, another question that came from Dan. It says, can you compare Alpha R and let's see, in string inverter performance versus Alpha and Enphase? We do not have a preference on which inverter you use. There's obviously, site-specific requirements that might make you want to go towards one inverter versus the other. Our Alpha module will have no difference in output, whatever inverter solution you choose, but it is important to make sure that you're sizing the correct inverter, right? So as part of the compatibility, we listed those. We see zero impact in terms of annual yield as long as you're using the correct optimizer, or be it from SolarEdge or Enphase. All right, another question from David. Is there any wind loading differential, I can't even say it, any difference in wind loading between the Alpha Pure and Alpha Pure R? Great question. The answer is no. They have this identical frame design with the cross bracing, and they both have best in class snow and wind loading, and it's identical in terms of its performance.
And Gabe, I might piggyback on that answer real quick, and just selfishly, being based in the Mountain West region, the snow loading ratings are real. And it's something I like to highlight, that all the production coming out next year for 23, we have hundreds of megawatts that will be delivered to the US. All of our products will be premium modules, but also have that high snow load rating, which, very important for Mountain West states and places like this that have heavy snow. Not to mention the twin design you talked about, right? So the fact that snow sloughs down to that bottom side of the module, and the top still works, right? So a lot of those key features across the board, doesn't matter which module you're selecting from us in Q1 or beyond, it's those industry leading stats. So just wanted to point that out from our region selfishly.
Yeah, great call out. So again, if you're working in states with high snow loads or high wind loads, this is again, in some locations, this is one of the only products you can choose because of building code requirements. But even if it's not required due to building code, it's still advantageous to the customer for some of the reasons that Brian pointed out. All right, in looking at some additional questions, are there plans to integrate Enphase with these modules? That's a great question. We've had a lot of people ask us, will you build an AC module, right, with an integrated microinverter? The short answer is it is not part of the immediate technology roadmap. That doesn't mean we couldn't do that in the future. But for today, you will continue to see our modules produced as DC modules, very much for the expectation for 2023. Beyond that, we certainly might be pursuing that, but at least in the near future, you will continue to see our modules just be DC modules with, be it Enphase or SolarEdge, whatever the inverter solution is, done at point of installation.
Also, probably good to point out that with that said, for long term, when we're talking 2, 3, 5 years out, that investment that Reliance has made into our organization allows us to explore different technologies, right, Gabe? So for sure, 23 DC module, but we have R&D and product people looking at all of these types of different solutions for further out, right? So that's another benefit of having the Reliance bankability and deep pockets behind us.
That's right. As we look at our current space in the market, which is one of the clear leaders from a technology perspective, we have zero plans to let that slide, right? We're in fact actually investing even more on our technology roadmap on improving cell efficiency and being able to take our modules to the next level as the technology is available. So we have a very clear strategy for that with joint venture partnerships, acquisitions and licensing of different technologies. You will continue to see REC cement its place as the leader in solar technology. As again, to Brian's comments, we now have some really exciting horsepower behind us and a lot of ability to continue to just drive as the leader in the residential space. Glenn had a great question. Are these modules appropriate for off-grid installation? Short answer is sure, right? There's nothing that would prevent it. From a voltage perspective, right, we just need to balance it like we would any other product in terms of charge controllers and the inverter and things like that. But there's nothing that would prohibit this module from being used in off-grid applications. Okay, which of the Alpha modules, Alpha Pure modules will be most available? Great question. As the current guidance, when we first launched this product, we were conservative in what our projected wattage is for our first round of volume coming in Q1. Initially, we thought that the majority of the production was going to be in the 410 watt range. We're optimistic that it'll be 420 watts in a lot of markets in the March timeframe. Having personally been in this industry for a very long time, we can say with confidence it's always easier to go up in wattage than it is to go down, right? We feel very good about setting an expectation that we know we can meet or exceed. So Tariq, to answer your question, 410 watts is the absolute safest bet if you're trying to plan for installs in that late January, February timeframe, but we see it bumping up to 420 watts very quickly. Again, we would much rather set that expectation than have everyone setting customer expectations of 420 watts and then it just being a 410 watt module available. So it's a little bit of a mixed message, but our intention is really to give you the absolute most accurate guidance and ensure that it's complementary to your sales process and just allows you to, again, meet or exceed expectations versus the other way.
Another highlight there, Gabe, would be, to absolutely encourage you to check with, whatever your local and regional distribution branches are telling you, right? Because there's some regionality to this as well. in terms of timing of what different watt classes will be available in different distribution branches, right?
That's exactly right. And so the best thing we can do, and as we look at, some of the best advice I can give everybody when we look at 2023 is to plan, right? Supply chain integrity has been a challenge across pretty much every piece of equipment used in the solar industry in 2022. While we see a lot of that improving in 2023, it doesn't mean that it fixes the situation. So again, work with your distribution partner. If you don't have, the GreenTech team is phenomenal at being able to plan with you to forecast. So just the most important thing is communicate, right? We would love to be part of that dialogue as needed, right? We work very closely with the GreenTech team. We know your account managers quite well, and really our goal is to partner with you for 2023 to be able to plan, forecast. So when you need the product, GreenTech's got it, right? There's no questions around that. And, record sales are amazing, but record sales are even better when they've been correctly forecasted and planned. And so we never have to see our customers deal with any kind of supply chain integrity issues. So again, in terms of what we're bringing to the market in 2023, we are increasing our Alpha Series production by close to 40%. So we're bringing a lot more product to the market. But again, having a great panel means that we're in high demand. So make sure that you're communicating, with your account manager at GreenTech so they're aware of your plans and we can grow with you and never slow you down. All right. Great question or great comment regarding integration of microinverters to a module. The comment was simply that that doing so can add a level of complexity that can frankly further challenge the supply chain. Agreed, right? No pushback on that, right? And again, our goal is to offer the best possible product with really the most flexibility for you to choose the right inverter solution for the home.
I can answer an easy one here, Gabe. Does the NPEAK 3 module, which we didn't talk a lot about in this presentation, but it's one of our other module types, have the same performance guarantee and warranty? And the answer is yes, in terms of the ProTrust warranty, product, production, labor, et cetera.
Yeah, that's a great call out. Another question we had from Cruz, really good one. Are they going to, the 410, 420 different wattages may be confusing. Are they going to be different part numbers? Is it the same part number? How is it going to improve over time? And what is the pricing within that? So a couple of great questions in there. I'll try and unpack them and drive more clarity there. So in terms of the wattages, we absolutely intend on continuing to push the envelope on driving the highest power efficiency. So certainly a clear directive from us is to have the bulk of the production by Q2 in the 420 wattage or watt class, and then start to creep up into 430 watts. What we can expect for the majority of 2023 is that 420 watt module will be the primary module available. We do hope to see some 430s available in certain markets, but again, as it stands, that's going to be a much smaller percentage of what's coming off the factory floor. And so the safe bet will be anchoring around that 420 watts as that primary wattage. The follow-up question was, will we see a difference in pricing between the wattages? The short answer is yes. Traditionally, the highest wattage products will have a very small premium just based on that improved customer offer, but it's traditionally just a couple pennies per watt would be the difference. Really our goal is to drive unified, clean, clear pricing so all of you can do what you do best, which is sell and install and not have to worry about prices changing.
There's one on domestic content here, Gabe. Do you see that one?
I do. Great question from Tariq. So as you know, the IRA will give a 10% tax credit to domestic suppliers. Do you think that value proposition is still there? So it's a really, really good question, right? It's one that there's still a decent amount of gray area out there, right? How much, for specifically, what percentage of the materials need to be domestically produced in order to earn that additional 10% on the federal tax credit? We're working closely with our team as well as with the national policy organizations to help identify that and understand it. It's certainly a clear benefit to move to U.S. manufacturing, and as I said, that's definitely something that we see as part of our near-term strategy. But in full transparency, some of those details about the interpretations are still getting fleshed out, and that's something that as an industry we will be all essentially evolving as we see that improved guidance.
And I think that's an important point, Gabe, because as you've seen, there's a lot of announcements across the solar industry about U.S. manufacturing, and it's fantastic. But until those guidelines are really solidified and cemented, even the littlest things like, you know, aluminum or glass or polysilicon, where's it coming from, right? And how much of that or what percentage of it has to be U.S. made, all those things are still being ironed out. So regardless if you're talking about REC modules or otherwise, that's something to just be very careful about in terms of modeling an extra 10% in your ITC, right? Until we get that Treasury or other departments guidance, you know, just really cautiously think about whether that 10% is achievable or not in the near term, right? Guidance will come, but until then, you know, we naturally are a little conservative on this side, an REC model, to make sure that we're not over-promising on that. But to Gabe's point, U.S. manufacturing is coming. It's a matter of time for us, and you know, we absolutely are going to take that into consideration when we're developing how these modules get produced and what the guidelines tell us.
That's right. Again, great questions. We appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy days, especially with Thanksgiving just around the corner, right? We're all trying to get things wrapped up before our kids are completely out of school, and we're focused on family stuff. So again, thank you everyone for being part of this webinar. You know, we really look forward to doing future webinars, and not just being able to continue to add value from a sales training standpoint on the technical attributes of our products, but also be able to speak to some of the industry things going on, and how, as policies have changed and evolved, as interpretations are shared, we can continue to just be a great resource for you all. So in closing, I would absolutely recommend that everybody go to our website, take a look at some of the videos. We've posted them on the chat, but we have great content in the form of a factory tour, really a deep dive into our manufacturing process, great visualizations of these technical benefits. And those are both great training resources for you and your team, as well as great customer facing resources that can help you win the deals. And again, most importantly, if you haven't joined our certified installer program, the link is in the chat. Please click it, send us your information. We'd love to have that conversation and welcome you into our program. And so you can, again, continue to advantage your customers with our best-in-class ProTrust warranty, as well as the marketing benefits and services we can provide. And of course, our contact information is on the screen. So I should have mentioned this earlier. Again, my name is Gabe Davis. I represent all of Southern California and Nevada and Arizona. Brian Sharp here supports the Mountain West region. We have a host of other team members that support your markets if we didn't call it out there. And again, we work very closely with the GreenTech team, so we can be instrumental in just helping ensure that you have great access to our product, and that we're all planning on your needs for 2023 and just giving you great supply chain integrity.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Gabe and Brian, and thank you everyone for attending today.